and about like you can have high core count and in one form factor to you have two node, I have four node. For example, like each node can support for 32 things, and four node you can have like 132, 128 things slot in one server, which is 2 4 node. So here you can see basically we have like several different front driver if you just only need SATA SAS, or you need like hybrid or foil of U.2. So it's really similar. So I won't waste time. I won't stay here for long. Just want to have your concept, let you know about what kind of concept we have. And there's one important thing is like we have like a CFC RAN topology kit. What is the difference is if you use this, what kind of thing you can save it. First of all, you know, like labor cost is you cannot ignore about the human labor cost. First of all, for you can see like in the middle, the picture like this one, the yellow line for each line connect to another server. So basically here just only one switch with 2 4 node. There's several lines between connect each other, but if you're using our CNC listkit, you can save a lot of line, and for your labor it will easily to understand what kind of server it have an issue, just easily to do the maintenance or solve the problem. And you don't need to worry about if like there's one line is shut down, you can go, this kit can go another way back to the switch. And also it will have a alarm. Your labor can just change the cable immediately. Yeah. And also our CNC chip, it will connect to each BNC. So basically you will detect like all the server with their BNC. You don't need to worry about it. And yeah, 2 4 node, I believe you already ordered 100 quantity of 2 4 node, right? So about the GPU server. First of all, I need to introduce you for our G292 series. For our G292 series, is like basically it can support in 2 form factor. It can support for 8 double slot GPU or the 16 single slot GPU card in 2U form factor by air cooling solution. This is only we have it, but the other vendor cannot have it because they unable to produce this kind of technology. Only we have it. So this is why I will introduce you this model at first. We have like Intel model and AMD model as well. And basically for Intel model, like here, basically it can support up to every kind of Intel Ice Lake up to 216 watts TDP per node. And in 2 form factors, some of the model can support up to 4 for U.2, and for the GPU, as I mentioned about, is 8 for a double slot or 16 single slot GPU card for PCI Gen 4. And also for besides the GPU, we also remain 2 for expansion slot for LAN card or another card. Here you can see like this model is AMD version, and for AMD version have like DP and UP different model, and for this model is G292 Z45 or Z46. This 2 model is DP solution, and for DP solution, the CPU of the TDP of the CPU only can support up to 240 watts. And but if you choose the single processor, can support up to like high-end CPU, which is 280 watt TDP. And for this one also can support single slot and double slot. Have 2 different models, and also I have another. Just here's the concept of this. Yeah, and there's one thing. This model is without the PLX. This picture, if you want to know about, we will go to the website to see what kind of differences. And basically for this one, this one, as I mentioned, is UP processor, only UP model, and we have like different kind of PCI switch. One is microchip, and another is Broadcom PCI switch. And as I know, like we will refer you for using Broadcom switch, PCI switch, the performance will be better. And the TDP, as I mentioned, is 280 watts. Takes about to 280 watts. And yeah. So besides the 2U form factor, about a 4U GPU server, there's one thing I need to mention about the differences of those two concepts is one is with PCI switch, one is without PCI switch. What kind of differences is if your application is doing the AI training inferencing or peer-to-peer is really important, and we will suggest you to using with our PCI switch. The GPU to GPU communication and efficiency will be better with if you compare with without PCI switch. If you choose the PCI without PCI switch, our client is most likely doing the video gaming, cloud gaming kind of. It's like communication or performance between GPU to CPU, it will be faster. But every kind of like those two have common ports. It's kind of like with PCI switch, the bottleneck would be like GPU to CPU and will be lower. And without PCI switch, of course, you know, comparing the GPU to GPU communication or connection will be slower than without with PCI switch. So it's really depend on what kind of application or what kind of performance you focus on. So basically, most of our clients, if they are in AI industry or training, inferencing, AI learning, most of them we suggest them to use with PCI switch. But if you're just doing like the video gaming or do like the graphic card or something like this one, without PCI switch will be better, but it's really depend on what kind of performance you focus on. And also for if you want to use the NVLink, basically the latest NVLink we can support, but please let us know what kind of NVLink you are using. We will check with you. So this one is Intel 4U, Intel 4U form factor, and this model can support up to 10 GPU. And this one is 4U, and the thing is like it can support for 8 NVMe drive base and 4 for SATA SAS. And this one is Jumbo speed, and also one for OCP 3.0. And with another is G492H80. It's only for 8GB GPU, but this one is GPU direct pass-through. So what is the differences? I will show you. As I mentioned here, this one is with PCI switch. This one is without PCI switch. Same as Intel version here. This one is without PCI switch. This one is with PCI switch. So the bottleneck of here, the advantage of this model is like GPU to GPU concept communication will be faster. But if you go to another like here, well, also it's a long trip, and peer-to-peer, here it will be better, but if without PCI switch, the faster communication between GPU to CPU will be faster. There's no PCI switch to like the transportation. So it's kind of like different. So just the concept, just mention, let you to know about it. Okay, so for AMD version, we have another like a G482 series, and the differences between those is like PCI switch differences, and the one of the model can support NVMe, and basically those series can support up to 8 GPU and for another for up to 4 expansion slots per node. And you can use this for 7763 CPU of AMD. There's no worry about it. And besides the GPU server, we also have like XSM4. And for this one, I will introduce you, send us the 2U form factor. For Redstone here, for XSM4 model, we have it in 2U form factor, but the other brand maybe they need to solve it in air cooling with like 3U form factor or 4U form factor. But we can do it. We able to fix support for like XSM for thermal issue by air cooling. And we have like 8 model or 4 XSM4 model. And this model is really good for AI training, inferencing, and HPC kind of. And this one, the GPU performance will even better if you go with like another, like previous I introduced you with PCI Switch, also go with NVLink. Then communication or efficiency will be better. Yeah. And for this one, for G292 Delta series, like we can support up to 280 watt, which is like high-end CPU of the AMD. And memory no need to worry about, and support for HGX 800. And support for 500 watt for GPU with liquid cooling. We also have, like, if you need to follow with your government leads for data center policy, we also can support it with like liquid cooling. We have those models. Yeah, please let us know. And also, even though this one is support HGX 800, we also have it with like 10 for expansion slot per node. This one, the concept is to support for the LAN card or the DPU card, like can go with the XGX 800 to enhance about your GPU performance. And this model is G262 Redstone series, and also this one we also have like 2 form factors to support OAM MI200. So this one we still can support it in 2 form factor. So even though that we still have like the liquid cooling support, and can support for 500 watts for a GPU with liquid cool, and also can support for the high-end CPU of the AMD current model. And besides the GPU for the expansion slot, we also have like 6 for expansion slot. Okay. This is the table. Yeah. So here is I won't say the entry level, but it's kind of like or if you haven't tried our GPU server before, this model I would suggest you to do this, but this model is still really powerful. But the thing is, one of the differences between this model with previous I mentioned about is like there's no window. If you want to use the real port of your GPU, this model cannot. I won't suggest using this model, because this model, if you use the if you plug in the GPU server, the real port, there's no window can go through the cable. So, but this model can support up to 4 GPU 800, and don't worry about it. And we have like AMD version and Ampere version. And for AMD version, even though by those 2 platforms we have like different SKU, is like basically let's have 2 for 2.5 NVMe at rear side for your OS, and at the front side we have different model. But basically for initially we have a SATA SAS, and as you know the SAS chipset in shortage, so we have like only support for SATA, and in the future we will have only support for NVMe. So it's kind of different SKU about it. Yeah. And now about the edge server in shortage, and support good for CDN edge computing or like front facing, and is also can, if you want to support for 800, we also have like edge server to support 800. And but basically for edge server we have just few model, and it's really depend on what you need. If you have larger quantity, and but our channel product cannot fulfill your need, we can talk about it according to your need. We can change another model, or what kind of thing we can do about it, we can talk about it. Yep, and about the workstation. And workstation right now, currently we have like channel SKU is for AMD, and soon we will launch for Intel version. And if you want to do some POC with the Intel version, we can talk about it. And basically for workstation, we have three. We just distinguish for three level, which is high end and entry, and W5 series is kind of by project. But what is the differences between those is really clear about, it's really easy and simple. First of all, I would say like if you want to use for first of all we'll talk about GPU. First of all, workstation 7 W7 series can support 4 for double slot GPU, and the W5 series is only 3 double slot, and W3 series is only 2 for single slot. And just kind of like step by step is like lower down the GPU picture. So you can see here, basically default is up to A or A for 3.5 SATA SAS. And basically the differences will be the fan will getting lower if you choose W5 or W3. The quantity of the fan and GPU of the fan will be decreased. So here, this is the concept. Basically for our channel product, channel server of the W71000, we are using the MC62G40 motherboard, and we have another several different motherboard you can choose. So it's kind of like if this motherboard or another motherboard you will have more interesting with, you can choose another motherboard. We can do some validation to give you for POC testing. This is like more detail about our channel product. And for this one is like basically this model is support up to 18 slot, and the CPU is a different Pro. There's one thing I need to mention about the Cediver Pro and Cediver is cannot share with each other. So this model only support for Cediver Pro, and memory is up to 8 and have expansion slot for 7. And basically for those can support up to 4 GPU double slot. And this one we have like we can support for M.2, and for this one for M.2 can support for Wi-Fi. Yeah. And this model is called with redundant power supply. And W3 series is just like this model. The motherboard we go with MC12, NC12MB0, and this model is without BNC, but we have dash to kind of like similar to BNC function, so you don't need to worry about if this model have no BNC, there's no management, but we have it. So if you insist to use with BNC, we have another motherboard. The picture is similar, but one is with BNC, one is without BNC. So also if you really need Intel version, we have another motherboard, standard motherboard, can just switch to change it. Yep, that's it. Thank you. 还有40分钟。
好，先给你鼓励一下，来，给鼓励一下。
先问他怎么问问题啊？你
为什么你在录影？
I'm just a cameraman, so don't look at me.
对，1号机，
1号机。
要急，好吧，你们年轻人先
当
问一下
客人来问一下。
对，你觉得他
我就是客人吗？
对，
对
我就是客人。
Okay, so it seems that the core competency of Gigabyte is related to thermal, right? The thing is one of the best. And I noticed that you just mentioned specifically to a machine that can fit to 8 double-star GPU card and 16, right, single one. I believe it's I can't remember the series number. Would you please go back to the page?
Do you from better, right?
Yes. But under most of the scenarios, I would say yes, the number, the quantity is looking good, but maybe I just need 6. And can I utilize the other 2 slots to other cars? Is it rate car, lane car, or whatever?
Basically, it's really depend on what kind of GPU card you're using.
Yeah,
because
agree.
you know, like the server and the GPU, it's not only just GPU and server. It's also including the BIOS of BNC. That
Yes.
the compute world is really complicated. We are not, we cannot guarantee like, because it's one just one, two just two, but everything need to do the validation. Then we can give you like a guarantee or like a solid information. So. So my question is, what kind of GPU you are using, and then because most of our GPU server will need to confirm with that.
Okay, but generally it is possible, right?
Generally, it is, but
Okay.
still, I need to confirm with our internal team if you have specific GPU needs.
Alright, so how is the calculation would go down? Says, I need to give you my AP and my scenarios, and then you can says looking for the suitable GPU for us, or I need to tell you exactly what I'm going to use.
I suggest you can give us like full configuration. It will be better because it also including if you need to build RAID or not. It's
RAID.
Yeah, if
RAID.
you need to use RAID or not, because some of the model is kind of the design concept. Some of model we cannot put a RAID card. There's no space from the.
I'm in
front
capacitive
side.
space, okay.
Yeah. So some of the expansion slot we designed it for the LAN card.
Right.
Yeah. So I suggest you give us like more information and like full configuration, and because maybe if you give me few information, I think okay, 2U form factor is enough, but maybe you have another thing is indeed, then maybe I will suggest for you configuration.
Okay, I see.
Mm.
Right.
Do we have any questions, teams?
Yeah, sure.
Oh shit.
是还是 shit？
So I saw Gigabyte is pretty focused on GPU server, right?
Yes.
So may I know if your server can support maybe some gaming card like RTX 3090 or the upcoming RTX 4090, 4080?
Okay, so basically this for RTX 3090 or kind of like low similar card, like we have a policy from NVIDIA. We cannot do this. You know, this card is gaming card or consumer card. So we are server grade kind of provider and server. So we main focus on the server grade, and the entry level like the most entry level will be like the RTX 8000. We might consider about it. But the card you mentioned about like 3090, 40, 60, 80, I don't know. Those is kind of like for kids. Okay. This one is kind of like for gaming, but we are business and we are like the enterprise. So and also same as NVIDIA, there's a kind of business conflicts and the price or cost or kind of issue. So they give us the policy about we cannot give you any guarantee about those cars. And if once, no matter like by mouth or by email, once they know about Gigabyte selling or give you any guarantee about like those cars, we won't able to sell the GPU card anymore. So, but you can give you what kind of application or what kind of performance we will refer you or maybe write GPU for you. It will be I can according to your needs or according what kind of spec the GPU needs, I can consult with the NVIDIA agent to give you right model.
Okay, so even though it's Gigabyte 3090, I cannot use.
Basically, we didn't validate, and I won't give you a guarantee. But one thing you can try, just purchase it and test it without informing us.
Okay, so you are not guaranteed,
Well,
even though it's a Gigabyte server and Gigabyte card.
Our Gigabyte server is best, but I cannot give you guarantee. I'm sorry. This is from NVIDIA policy.
Okay. And another question will be for 4U GPU server. I saw other vendors like ASUS and the Supermicro providing 4 power supply. Do you have this option to add one more power supply to be 3
For-
plus 1, 2 plus 2?
Basically, for the quantity of power supply already fixed by when it be designed and perceived, and basically it's like the limitation and hardware limitation. So there's no space for if this model only have 3 power supply, there's no option for 4 power supply because it's fixed. The form factor and the chassis are fixed because at least we designed it high density.
Okay.
So we didn't waste any space in interior.
Okay.
But for 4 power supply, I can check with internal team if the future or the next generation we might have it. But do you have it? Or do you have the demand, or do we have like the project right now you are go with? Because like if you need, when will be the lead time or deployment? If like next year we might talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah, the reason is because I saw other competitor have, so just curious about whether there's an option that can be made.
Okay, I believe it will depend on like they have this option. It might depend on like the power consumption. You know, for like even though we have like three power supply, will like 2 plus 1. But in our I confirmed with our internal team before, like if the power consumption didn't achieve like 2 power supply, it might be changed to like 1 plus 2. It will change automatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, we will guarantee like the power consumption will be enough.
Okay. And another question will be on G242.
G242, yeah.
Yeah, so when you're saying Ampere was support for BlueField 2, how about Intel and AMD? This can support BlueField 2 DPU from NVIDIA?
For this one, I need to check internal team.
Okay, so Ampere is okay, right?
Yeah, Ampere is okay, but it was specific model. But for those information, if you don't, for example, like if you choose the Ampere model, which is collaborated with NVIDIA, if you purchase that model, and also you don't want to put the BlueField 2, you can use it for 800.
Okay. Okay. And I have last 2 questions on workstation.
Still?
The final 2 questions
Okay.
for me. Yeah. Yeah. So for W771,
Yeah.
how about the latest Ryzen Threadripper Pro 5000 series? I saw the spec you are offering is 3000 series. How about 5000?
5,000. Let
Yeah.
me check.
5000 before. What's your best?
Here you can see here, basically, no internet.
Yeah. This is Thailand.
一样吗？
Bear with it.
你拉一下。
Mr. Edward, we are in Thailand. No internet.
How do you communicate? That's weird.
So basically, what kind of CPU we can use? Not only CPU, also including like things like GPU or drive bay. Basically, we will do the validation. Our SIT will do all about it. And what kind of CPU you mentioned? It's like the
Ryzen Threadripper Pro 5000 series.
5000 series. What I see here is 5995. Is that what you want?
Okay, yeah, the 5000 series
Yeah.
will be the one.
Oh yeah, we can support the high-end CPU for you. No need to worry about it.
Okay, and the last one will be W331. How about the Ryzen 7000 series?
W331.
Yeah.
Yeah. The CPU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it's coming up by maybe September or October.
Okay, it will really, first of all, my bad, I didn't check the socket if it's the different LAN we won't about to support it, but if you need, or I can confirm with internal team about like, we can change the model to support what the CPU you need, but the socket type is the same. Maybe I believe we will do a validation.
Yeah.
So you can give me what kind of series or model you need, and we'll give it to our SI team in the priority testing.
Yeah, because for Ryzen 1000 to 5000 series, I think it's sharing the same socket, but
Oh,
7000 I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it's really depend on the CPU vendor itself.
Okay.
But anyway, if we can test or validate, we will do it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I have no further question.
OK，好，那我们10分钟留位给2个大老板嘛。
我觉得你们真的不错。其实我觉得你只有一个缺点，但是你把你的 PowerPoint 打开哦，我一个一个讲，我觉得你们应该要讲到的重点，我抄蛮多，但是有些来不及抄了。但是我用讲的给你们听好了。
那不然我还是先讲一下我刚才问的那几个
好，
正解。
好，
对，那个 G492你要讲那个我们下一代就有4个 power supply。
G492下一代。
4U PCI 的那个 GPU， 对，然后那个 G242目前我们只有那个 NPL 测过 BlueField 2，对，然后还有那个 W775000就是你刚才有回答出来嘛，然后那个 W331的话7000系列就是 AM5 就不能支援，对，
哦
所以你就跟他说 W332或之后 EU 的系统，
好
我们会有做，对，好，
好，谢谢。
好，拍谁？田龙欢迎你。
因为我觉得你太急了，你讲得太快了。我觉得，因为其实我觉得你们一开始都会有这种很紧张，或者是因为东西太多，但这样真的会很失焦，我觉得会很失焦。但是我觉得你整体是而且你很稳定，但是你的脸太欠揍了，就是讲话样子你在太严重，你讲中了。好，但是我觉得有些 key feature， 像你这个的东西你都没有稍微，一整个的大方向，我觉得你要先讲清楚。就是我觉得你没有讲得很清楚，就是在那边，而且你在这边弄完就跳这边，又跳这边，又就是乱跳一天，我觉得有点，这个是大架构。even 我觉得你还少讲了说，其实我们从 motherboard 跟我们 rack mount， 其实你应该讲 rack mount， 因为很多人一开始，可能 rack 它可能有一种是大的 rack。rack mount 就是你的机架式的这种，那所以你可以讲比较清楚说我们有 rack mount， 那到后面整个 whole rack， 其实你也没讲，我们有整个 whole rack 的 solution， 就是我们可以可能是12U 什么，所以你懂意思吗？就是说你这个要讲 rack mount， 那我们这个是 high density 的嘛，就是 GPU， 那 S 是什么 storage 这些，这个我相信到这个 rack mount 到最后我们是有 total solution， 我们有办法做整个 whole rack 42U 或者是 OCP 的整个 rack， 所以在这个地方说，你少讲了说，其实我们有 R 系列，就是 rack mount 系列，还有 high density GPU， 所以我们是以 building block 的方式在设计，所以我们可以出整个 whole rack solution。如果你需要你的整个 application 需要说 computing node、storage node、GPU node， 我们是有办法 config total solution 给你 ，provide 这样子的 solution 给你，所以你没有办法，你看你讲这样机架好像全部都是做那种单一系，但是我没办法做整个 total solution， 所以这个地方我觉得你讲太急了啊，你应该说这个都是我们的单一的 R 系列、rack mount、high density GPU 系列跟 storage 系列，那我们最后我们有办法出整个 total solution， 就是整个 whole rack， 那我们是12U， 甚至于 OCP 的部分，我们也可以出 OCP 的整个 rack， 对。这个我觉得可以不要这么急，你就会先让大家知道你即将能 offer 什么样的 solution。好，这个我觉得这个没有什么好讲，就是每个 generation 就是假设卷3到卷4，但卷3到卷4啊，这个 Naples 到弄这个我觉得没有，反而是到你这个地方 他一定会问你说，你讲了说哦，我们 putting per channel 什么，我们要 keep speed 的那些东西嘛，他一定问你说，那你们技嘉怎么做到的？
哦，no how，I'm sorry。
没有，你不是对，这没有说是 know how 没有错，就是说我们是透过我们有很多的 high speed 的一些团队，我们 estimation 让我们的 signal 的 quality 有办法透过 layout 去让我 even support 2 beam per channel 也不会当 speed。其实这是我们的 know how 没有错，但是你的时候我们是透过我们的 high speed 的 skill， 那透过 layout 的方式去把这个问题解决，所以我们不会在 2 beam per channel 的时候当 speed 这件事情。大部分的人会问你，为什么你们的东西是不会当 speed 的？
We have Canon。
所以我觉得这个一定会被问到的啦。所以你要说就是，其实我们再重新讲，就是我们有 high speed 的一些经验，有 simulation， 我们让 2 beam per channel 在我们 layout 用我们的 layout 的技巧 keep 让它 even 是2 beam per channel， 我们也不会让它当 speed， 这是 layout 的技巧在 high speed 的部分。好，那其实你讲了一个说我们 thermal 很强，到底有多强？这个就是讲了比较空泛了。那其实你也可以，如果他说我们有很好的 thermal solution， 那很好的 thermal solution， 其实这就是很空泛嘛。那我们就会背上，在我们在 design 的前期，我们会背上就是 placement 跟 thermal 去讨论 simulate 这个所有的风流 ，to make sure 我的所有的 air impedance 会比较低。这个当然有点专业，但是他会问你说，你说你们都 thermal 很好，可以 support 比较好的 TDP， 那原因是什么？
We do all the simulation about the air。
就是说我们在 early stage 在 placement 的时候，在 placement 的就是在摆设这些位置的时候，在 placement 的时候，我们就会去 simulate 它所有的 air flow， 去 reduce 它的 air impedance， 就是风阻，去 make sure 我们的那个所有的 thermal 的 impedance， 就是你风阻越大，你当然就是没办法带走热嘛。所以因为你讲的这个就是我们有很好的 thermal 我们可以 support 很高的 TDP， 那这样。就好像有讲跟没讲一样，就是你懂吗？就是说，在我们在 early stage 的时候，在placement 的时候，我们就会非常这样 placement 去透过 simulation 去 make sure 它的 air flow 是很好的 ，reduce 它的 air impedance， 去让它的 thermal 更好。这个可以这也可以这样讲，因为讲的就是我们 thermal 很厉害，那多厉害就不知道多厉害，对不对？所以为什么会做到这件事情，是因为这样子，因为。等一下会带到说，你看你在2U 8GPU 的时候，为什么你可以你看你说我们是只有我们有2U 可以做到 8GPU， 那他就会问你说，那你的2U 8GPU 你那个都要support到300瓦，那你的 preheat 跟你那个是怎么解决的？你不能每次都说 know how， 但 know how 是没错，但是你如何要用一个概念跟他讲说，我们的在设计的时候，在 placement 跟一些风流风阻，我们怎么去克服的？这个没有什么好讲的。好，这一页其实你既然秀这一页，你就应该要讲到 management 的，就是其实在我们的 management tool， 其实我们可以 dynamic 去 monitor 所有的 device， 包含所有的 CPU 的 status、memory、add-on card、voltage、thermal。其实那当然他就说，你除了这个的 Web UI 的这 monitor， 你还有什么样的我们可以 support？Redfish 跟一般的那些 IBMI 的comment， 这个可能对你来讲有点难，但是你可能会被问到的。就是你这个后面你自己之后可以再去 study， 就是说这个是我们 Web UI 的一些 management 的一个 tool 嘛，那它一定会，这是一个你们技嘉可能在 Web UI 可以秀出来的一些 device 的一些 status， 但是你还能对他来讲这个是非常 general， 但是他以这种比较专业，他问你说，那你还有能 support 什么样 management 的一个方式，像 Redfish， 这后面你可以再去 study 的。这次不用，那对你来讲是有点太难了。但是 Redfish 或 IPMI comment 那是什么东西？你可以抄起来，以后再补上去吧。
好
Redfish 其实是一种 protocol 啦，那这是一种通用的一个界面。但因为你讲了这个，你敢讲这个，他就会问你更深了，就是后面什么 IPMI comment 或 ODN comment 你能读到什么样的东西？这个可能后面。之后我们觉得可以再补了。
可以问一个问题吗？就是如果顾客提到说你们 BNC 也有自己的 GUI 嘛，然后也有自己的系统在里面，那我能不能把我自己的系统做个 API 接接的方式去串 或者是他们有没有什么那种开发包可以让我去在这上面去再增加或减少，或者配合我其他第三方监控的功能，然后就把什么 event log 什么往外丢，然后接到我的随便什么人。
就在 UI 的界面可能很难，但是它可以透过，就像我刚才讲 IPMI command 或 Redfish 的这种 command 去读到你想要的东西。我只要告诉他我的 address 在哪里，我的 register 在哪里，它可以做到这件事。我只要 open 它 command 的那些位置就可以了。
哦，所以是可以做。
对，就是刚才我讲的，就是 Redfish， 因为 Redfish 就是一个，你把它当做是一个，假设我们今天讲的是中文，你讲的是英文，你讲的是泰文，其实就是一个 protocol 的一个语言，就从一般的可能以前一声类的这种那个的这个 protocol 转换成 IPMI protocol 或者是 Redfish protocol， 就是不同的语言，但是它是只要你能听得懂我的语言，我就可以问到你问题了。
就是算是一个统一的一个 feature。
对，不是一个 feature， 是一个 interface。
就统一大家语言的一个 interface。
对，反正这个你讲的这个，你可以后面再补。我觉得这个可以，maybe 也可以请 BMC 的人先拿那个他们的那些他们的 BMC 的 measurement 的概念，你们先看看，我们改天也可以来讨论，就是他们是做什么事，但我没有办法读的，就是了解的非常细，但是整个 roughly 的去 present 还可以啊，就是说他们能做到什么事情。那当然 detail 的写扣那些能做什么，那我可能没办法。但是因为他跟哈维要去匹配，才办法读到这些事情嘛，所以等于说我们在 work 的时候可以知道他们在做什么，所以到时候也可以之后我们可以谈 BMC 相关 management 的这个的部分，这个也是我比较弱的啦，但我觉得可以大家一起读这样子。所以你如果读到这个，人家可能就到这一页，他可能会问你这些问题，什么 Redfish 啊，或是 IPMI command 你有 support 嘛？对吧？基本上
我现在知道有，
对吧？
好。
这个Rule of Trust 其实我觉得你讲的有点太乱了，但是好，你知道 ROT 跟 Dual Bias 这个是你只能either one 嘛？
哦，
对，就是
那我先去上。
好，
你们先讲。
就是 Dual Bias 是其中一个，第一份我们是你也是亮亮
对
好，等他们回来好了。
我知道是 root of trust， 小盛跟我说过这是叠加的专利，所以我们不能称它为 root of trust。
不是，等我们两个一起来再讲好了。你们两个有，
你可以暂停了吗？
你还在录？
对啊
那你怎么不拿脚架？
对啊，你盯了快。
这样子
我
你手会不会发抖？这样你能
有镜头在
认真听吗
动，我回去再听。哦，我看一下，哦，好，40分钟了。